and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the person who says if you have a big apple, you need a bigger mouth.
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of King of New York. Now, if you're curious about our two-player perspective and accessibility, check out our other video, Rolling with Two, King of New York. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. In King of New York, you play as a monster trying to either be the last monster standing or the first to 20 victory points. You can also earn victory points from becoming a superstar and destroying the city's buildings. But destruction brings the military, which can spell doom for the monsters. All right, Will, so why did we get this?
Well, we were big fans of King of New York, and this
King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo.
Right.
And we were promised that King of New York was going to be the gamer version of King of Tokyo. So we picked it up.
That's true. We picked it up a long time ago and finally got around to playing it.
Thank you, YouTube channel. You did your job.
Yes. All right, so what do we like about King of New York?
Well, one of the first things I like is with the base game of King of Tokyo, I had an issue with the numbers. I felt their mechanic didn't make a whole lot of sense and it fell flat. The numbers are gone. You now have 3 new icons, a star one, which basically encompasses all the numbers into one die face, a destruction icon, which is how you interact with destroying buildings, and an ouch, which is how the board reacts to you.
Right, because the military fights back.
Yeah, so just that simple change kind of fleshed out where I thought King of Tokyo was weak.
Right.
And this one's stronger.
Agreed. There's just more you can do on your turn, which makes it more engaging.
Yeah. I sometimes got distracted, like, oh, I haven't been attacking Sarah because I'm doing this other...
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, okay. That's great. That's great.
Because all these new board interactions of trying to be a superstar, which is a way to earn points, and I feel like it gave you something else.
Energy.
Energy. So that was really nice as a new way to get more energy so you can get more power cards, which is nice. And then destroying the buildings gave various effects, including points, energy, healing, and stuff like that. However, destroying the buildings flips them over, and then you got the military, which could activate on that ouchie. So there's just a lot more to do, a lot more to interact with, and you can use that the board against other players sort of indirectly. Like if you're in a borough and you destroyed some buildings and all the military came, well, you could leave, go somewhere else, and the next person to enter that particular borough might get hit by that military if it gets activated on anybody's turn.
I did that.
Yeah, Will did that to me.
Enjoy Manhattan. It's a dangerous place.
Yep.
I'm just going to go to this borough that has no military at all.
Yep.
And oh, look at all the ouch symbols. That's going to be rough for you.
So all this that we're talking about is really great, except that it's clunky. So moving into what we didn't really like is all these new phases. This is kind of one of those double-edged swords of knowing King of Tokyo, but then not knowing King of Tokyo can make it hard to learn. But just for us, since we've played so much King of Tokyo, adding in additional phases and kind of changing when certain things resolved was just really difficult for us. And I think that's probably why it fell flat for a lot of people, is it became a more complicated King of Tokyo, but not necessarily a more rewarding experience, I think. So it's just that direct competition and the fact that this is not as streamlined as it could be. I think they could have done a lot better with that aspect.
Right.
Also then for us, because we love King of Tokyo and we have the expansions for King of Tokyo, it's exactly what we want it to be. And this, I know that they did a power up for this as well, but I think even with the evolution cards, I'm not sure that this would become any better of an experience for us.
Well, because of all the tiles that you have to put out on the board, it's just more effort to get the same gaming experience that now our version of King of Tokyo has with all its expansions.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I want to put in more work to get the same amount?
Yeah.
Or should I put in less work?
Yeah. So that's the challenge, and I think that's why King of New York didn't really take off. And unfortunately, as far as my little bit of research, concluded. They only ever did like 1 or 2 print runs, and they have no current plans to reprint it, at least according to the designer in the last thread I read on Board Game Geek. Is this just didn't do well enough?
I think it was a little bit too direct in its competition
Yes.
with itself. With, trying to compete against King of Tokyo.
And marketing this as a gamer Tokyo already shrinks your market. There's just so many people you can play King of Tokyo with. It's just a wide range, where this is a much smaller range, and it's not a better experience for that group of people. I think that's a big issue with it. I think, though, that's pretty much everything what we, didn't like about it. So, as we've discussed, this is for those intermediate and up gamers.
Yeah.
If you don't mind the clunkiness of it. Because I do think there's some more meat here, and the boards and things, the tiles that you can flip over, that would be really engaging for some people.
Yeah.
All right, let's go over our ratings.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did King of New York roll for you?
It rolled a 4. It's a really good base. I think it needed more development. I think it needed more space from King of Tokyo to be its own game, but it definitely needs streamlining. I don't know how exactly, but it's just, all that setup is just cumbersome. Not what I want out of the game, but I like that concept. The dice and the way that you can destroy buildings and be a superstar, those concepts I really, really liked, but it just wasn't developed to a really fun and engaging end point that wasn't too cumbersome to put together or remember how to play. So that's pretty much it for me.
I give it a 5. I feel that at the 2-player count, base King of New York is better than King of Tokyo.
Base.
I feel that at higher player counts, base King of Tokyo is better than King of New York. So it's kind of a, well, have you got any of it? And if not, that's the point at which to make a decision.
Yeah.
Do you go for the King of New York, or do you go for the King of Tokyo? You're playing fewer players, probably go for King of New York. If you play more players more often, King of Tokyo. Because the other nice thing is with King of Tokyo, you can always then hunt down the other expansion material to bring it up to the higher count in case you want to backfill in that extra bit of complexity that King of New York does come with.
Yeah, I think the hard part is just finding a copy of King of New York right now.
Right. Although because it didn't have, such a great push, I think there's going to be a lot of people willing to trade it.
That's true. That's true. If you get into the trading markets, you're going to have a lot easier time to find a copy.
Yes. So it's not a bad game. It's just, it was badly marketed because it was competing against its own brand line.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, so 9 out of 12.
Yep. It's not a bad game. It's just, it could have been better, and it could have not competed basically with itself, with King of Tokyo.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, and that'll do it for us. And Sarah,
yes,
would there be anything in King of New York that you'd like to see in King of Tokyo?
The hard part is, the part that I like is maybe the superstar. Because I was going to say the destroying the buildings and having that as a way to make points is much more interesting than the dice.
Yeah.
But that's harder too. And that's part of the problem I have with it, how clunky it is to set up. But that superstar aspect could have definitely been a bit more developed. And I think that would be neat in King of Tokyo. Because the whole, big in Japan, I'm sorry, I don't mean,
Yeah.
But that would be kind of cool. I mean, these are big giant monsters roaming around. They could have, their own following and be superstars. And that be another way to earn both victory points and energy. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, what if it would be like you could actually qualify for the superstar and maybe even get energy if you roll the ones.
Yeah.
You could qualify for the superstar and just the points if you do 2, or just the points if you do 3.
That would probably make that much more interesting.
Yeah.
That actually wouldn't be very difficult to modify, house roll.
Right. The one thing that I was seeing in King of New York that I wouldn't mind seeing in King of Tokyo is some of those power cards having abilities when they're out in the market.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was kind of interesting. I probably wouldn't address it quite like that. I might have made it a little bit simpler in terms of the rule it changed or added. But I did really like that aspect in King of New York.
Those were pretty cool.
All right. So, 9 out of 12. Pretty good. All right.
That's it.
Yes. And we've been rolling with more
reviews.
Oh, right. This thing always feels like an expansion to me because you can use some of the things. In fact, you could just rip out the monsters and the dials and immediately play
You
King of
can't use
Tokyo.
the cards, though. The power cards are
no.
unique enough. You can't use power cards between the other.
Right.
But you can use these monsters in King of Tokyo. So
Yes.
it does feel like an extion.
Yes.
But this is
I think that was another thing that they were trying to sell us on is there was partial expansion-esque abilities in King of New York.
That's true.
They lied to us.
But we are rolling.
Yes, we are. What are we doing? Rolling with reviews. We're on top of this. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two. That's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.